How's it going? Welcome to today's installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today because today we would be doing a little bit more with the Saab. This is actually the 2-year review, the 2-year anniversary of me acquiring this 2006 Saab 9.3 2.0T. But she's broken. She's broken. This actually just happened a couple of days ago, so I can't really take her anywhere because she's broken. But before we get into that, let me just kind of, overall just say that I really do love this car, and I wish that I could do more with it, but there's the stuff that's wrong with it could, pose as an actual safety, hazard. Mostly the front suspension components. The struts are terrible, and I've had the car for 2 years, and I've put, I think, about maybe 3,000 miles on it since I've had it. A lot of the time, unfortunately, it just sits here, and I'll go through periods of time where I will take it out and drive it for, a few days in a row, let some of these other cars kind of sit, and I'll drive this one, and it's like each time I drive it, though, it's kind of a risk because of the fact of the the struts kind of being so awful up front. It's almost like playing a game of chance each time the car's moved, and I don't like it sitting though either, because when it sits, then that's not good for the car also. In fact, like, the brakes are all getting cruddy because the rust builds up on them, and then when I go to drive them, I just don't want the rotors to end up getting destroyed. But unfortunately, I have no choice because I don't have the few $100s that it's going to cost to replace these struts like I want to. I was really hoping to have it done this past summer, but it did not work out, unfortunately. And now it's actually broken, and it's still going to be a few $100s to fix it. And it's not a big deal. It's one part that needs to be replaced. But there again, I'm not going to have the extra money for a little while to fix it. It's actually really cold out here too. It's in the 40s today. Ooh, but it's nice and toasty in here thanks to me leaving the sunroof open. 197,837 miles on the clock. Let's go ahead and start this up. She starts and runs. Been running pretty good. Right low beam failure. That's always coming up. Any moment now. It's been a few days, like I said. There it is. Crap. Oh, crap. Oh, man. Yeah, so, alternators failed. No alternator. That's what we're running. So this should be anywhere between 13 and 15 volts, and As you can clearly see, this car is running off of the battery. That is it. So yes, the alternator has finally crapped out on this car. It's probably the original alternator, and like I said, for 197,000 miles, I mean, that's probably pretty good. So we'll go ahead and shut it down, because yeah, she can't run without an alternator, and it's kind of sad. I was actually in the spell of driving this car. I had driven it 4 days in a row, so this was one of the weeks where I was using it every day for a while to get it to, you know, move. Put a full tank of gas in it the first day I had it out, and drove 75.6 miles. I reset the trip because the gauge is kind of funny in this car, so I reset the trip odometer and drove it 75 miles. And I went to go take it to work. So we had a morning. The mornings around here have definitely been frosty lately. And I came out here to, you know, warm it up. Took the trash to the curb because it was trash day, you know, had it running. Everything started thawing. I got into it, put the car into reverse, and I'm getting ready to back down the driveway. I'm getting ready to leave. You know, I'm ready to go to work, and as I was backing down the driveway, that warning came on, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It's a good thing it happened here in the driveway and not halfway to work or such, you know. So I kind of pulled it into the driveway and had to take one of the other cars real quick to get to work. So it's kind of sad, but yeah, so it was like the 4th day in a row I was going to drive this car, and that's what happened. See if the battery's going to recoup any, and it did a little bit. The battery's going to be really undercharged for a while. But yeah, so I came over here. I thought maybe the belt broke or something, but the belt's still intact. The alternator's right there under this cover. There it is. So it's really not in the worst spot. Yeah, it's not in the worst of spots. For some reason, I was thinking it was lower. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a challenge to get out. I say that now. But we're also not going to be doing it for a while anyway. Unfortunately, so now this thing is back to sitting, and I don't know how long. I'm hoping it won't be for too long. But yeah, we obviously can't do anything with a failing alternator. So yeah. Now, aside from that, this has actually been a really good car for the most part. You know, in the 2 years that I've had it, and my stepsister actually had it for years before I acquired it. I think she had it for like 3 or 4 years before she gave it to me. But since I've had it, I mean, there's been, you know, the rust has you know, gotten a lot worse. She actually had this whole panel here, this panel and the other panel, had all of this fixed because it was rusting before. And when I got the car, it was very little, but it is very bubbly now. Paint is kind of flaking. There's like an air pocket right there. You could push the paint. So I mean, unfortunately, yeah, it's, you know, she shows her age back here, and the same on this side. So this side's actually losing more paint than the other side. It's really, you know, cracking, and which is a real shame because this car is beautiful. This is such a beautiful car. Love this color. When it's cleaned, I'm sure you guys have seen it clean, but when it's cleaned, it looks really good. But it's sad because of the rust, and yeah, and the inside is you know, for the age, still in really, really good shape. Oh, see, the battery made it back to 12 volts now that all the modules have shut down. Still undercharged, but at least we're in the 12 volt range. I'm probably going to lose some of that now when I open this door. But I mean, yeah, so the inside is still really good for the age. The driver's seat's the worst, obviously, because it's the seat that gets used the most. But the leather in all the other seats is still pretty well, you know, taken care of. And the dash, there's no signs of any cracking, no warping as of yet. I got some trash here and there, unfortunately. I did scrub these mats. I think it was sometime within the last year. I think it was this year I did it, or last year. But I did scrub these mats, and they turned out to be really nice. And you know, for the most part, everything in here works, except for the CD player, which we did have to replace. There's no CD drive in here. I wasn't actually planning on using this entire unit, but when the O-bus system started acting up, which is basically a continuous communication line between this audio unit, the CD player, the amplifier, and a couple of other things. But if the chain of communication is broken, the radio will not work, or it'll give you some really weird problems. And I had a situation after messing with this of both. So I threw a junkyard one in here, thinking this was going to be the culprit, and yes. So once I put this new or used unit in there, the O-bus communication had been fixed, and everything is working normally, except I don't have a CD drive in here anymore. So that's all I wanted to resolve. I just wanted the radio to work. But air conditioning does not work. It never did when I got the car. The heated seats do work, and the car does produce great heat. Yeah, I mean, everything else pretty much works in here. This cup holder is a little weird. It's kind of flimsy. You could put like a light water bottle in there. I wouldn't put a full-size cup in there because I'm always afraid it's gonna kind of, you know, break. But if you push this all the way in, good luck trying to get it out. So I just kind of have it sitting like that so I can at least get to it. What else did I have to replace? Because I don't really drive it a whole lot, I haven't really replaced a whole bunch of stuff. The CD player was the big thing. This seatbelt buckle. So within the last year, the seatbelt buckle had to be replaced because it wouldn't latch. So I went to go use it the one day, and the seatbelt would not latch. So got one of those from a junkyard. Or no, actually it came from the actual Saab service center, which isn't too far from here, and they sold it to me, I think, for like $30 or $40. They had one out of another carcass that they had. I don't think I had to do anything else to the inside. I removed the aftermarket stereo, the sub that she had back here, because it didn't work. So all that was restored back to factory. Yes, he just having the door open. I killed my battery again. We put new spark plugs in it because it runs funny sometimes when it's trying to get to idle. On top of that, I also cleaned out the throttle body because it was stumbling upon startup. Now, ever since I cleaned the throttle body, the stumbling during startup hasn't taken place. It actually starts up right away, and it runs pretty strong. But there's still the thing every once in a while when it comes down to an idle, it stumbles. And I'm noticing that now that it's colder out here, it doesn't do it as much. It barely does it at all. But when it's warmer out here, that's when it does it. So I really wonder if there's a sensor for like the intake air temperature, or something along those lines. I wonder if that's kind of skewed, and it's giving false readings to the PCM, and the PCM's not really happy with trying to calculate the proper air-fuel ratio during that. What else? My sister said that there was something weird with the radiator possibly leaking. I have yet to really notice anything like that. The coolant level's still pretty good. I think I added some one time since I've had this car. And I don't know, that's really it. I didn't really do it. I replaced the cabin air filter. But no. You can kind of hear these clicking noises. It's got something to do with these aftermarket LED lights that are on here. Then they just stop. It's weird. So yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't really had any weird overheating issues or anything with this car. But the struts are the big thing. Again, once the struts are done, I definitely can use this car a lot more. And I hate to say it, it may need a steering rack. There's a little bit of play in the wheel. All the other suspension stuff's tight, but I think it's got something to do with like the I forget what it's called, like the actual gear where the steering shaft meets the actual rack. I think the gear might have a little bit of play in it. You know, obviously the car's almost got 200,000 miles on it, so. And you know, there's been this leak here, and I never really knew this until maybe after the first year I had this car. But you know, we did a valve cover gasket, and this was before I even took possession of the car, but you know, this was all wet over here. We did the valve cover gasket, and it continues to be a little wet, and now it's, you know, it's up here and stuff. And this is actually the power steering pump on this engine. I did not know that. I didn't realize that until after, like I said, the first year I actually had the car. But the power steering is driven off of the intake cam on this engine. And I guess these are known for leaking oil out of the seal where the engine, where the cam, you know, meets the block. Oh, I know. So, yeah, it's, we're back at 12 volts now, as you can see. But yeah, so, I don't know. I might do something about that. It may be the reason why everything looks like it's leaking. It may actually be leaking worse, you know, getting worse. So that might be something to look into, you know, in time. And I don't know if I have to actually replace that pump or if I could just get the seal. And I don't think it's power steering fluid that it leaks. I think it actually is leaking, you know, engine oil. Or maybe it is power steering fluid. I don't think there's anything on that stick. Oh boy. I don't think I've ever checked that. Yeah, there's nothing dripping on there at all. It's... Well, maybe it's been leaking power steering fluid. Alright, well, we're not going to worry about that now. Obviously, the top priority has just been given to the alternator when it comes to fixing the car. So, other than that, there's really nothing else we can do with it. At this time. Plus, it's, you know, getting colder and stuff. So, I don't know. I think we're just going to wrap up this video because there's really nothing else I could do. I can't drive it. Last year I took, you know, the car out to a park, and it snowed on me. It started snowing. But at least we got to drive the car, and I got to tell you, you know, more about it like I usually do in all of these anniversary vlogs. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen with this one today because it really is broken. And I'm kind of disappointed. I don't know why. I kind of had a hunch. I've had a hunch for a while that this alternator is probably failing. I kind of had a hunch because at night, when like the turn signals were on and stuff, the SID display looked like it would kind of flicker with the lights. And I don't know, I kind of thought maybe that was a warning sign that eventually the alternator was going to give out. And that was going on for a long time. So the alternator could also have been the reason why some of the other weird electrical gremlins like to come and go with this car. So that's a big one. That could definitely solve a lot of electrical issues with the car. And the battery's from 2018, so it's 5 years old now. Who knows how much longer that's going to be any good, especially if the alternator's been failing, because all that's been doing is putting more strain on this battery when the alternator can't keep up with the charge. And finally, the alternator says, I'm out. So there we go, 2 years in to the Saab 9.3 ownership. Train's here. And we're just going to have to leave it as is for the time being, unfortunately. But it's a great car, and I really do hope I can get... I really do hope that I can get more time out of it. I definitely want to see this thing cross 200,000 miles, for sure. But I'll get her running again. I just don't know when. And we will continue to do what we can with her. Alright, and that's pretty much going to wrap up this vlog. Other than that, not a whole lot going on with the car front as of right now. I know, usually around this time of year, now that, it's getting colder outside and this and that, I mean, I usually don't have a whole lot of content to do during the colder months, other than, obviously the cold starts. A lot of people like the cold starts. So that's usually a big thing I look forward to doing. But usually, I don't have a whole lot going on during the downtime. Eventually, this car is going to need brakes, the Civic. Back brakes in particular. I think the back brakes are warping really bad. These generation Civics here have a tendency to have seized brake pads back there because of their caliper design, and I think those have probably been stuck for a while, and they've been showing they're starting to really show, especially once the brakes are warm and you're at high speed and you go to stop and it's so don't know when that's going to be, but I will eventually have a rear brake replacement on the Civic. And I don't know what else I got going on. Grand Am's still in pretty good standing as of right now. There's no gas in it, so I'm not driving it today. So yeah, now I guess one thing I want to throw out there while I'm talking about like the future, near future maybe, is I'm playing with the idea of starting a podcast. Now, I don't want to go into a whole lot of specifics yet on what this podcast is about. I've already recorded the first episode, and I'm probably going to record the second one sometime this afternoon after I go get lunch. But I will say it is not vehicle related. And yet I kind of hope that, people who maybe watch this may take interest in it once I actually formally announce it. Now, I'm only saying I'm not giving a whole lot of details about it yet because I honestly have no idea right now on how to even submit a podcast or how to publish one or how to get it out there. So I still have some research to do, and I don't know exactly when these are going to be coming out, but just for the time being, I recorded the first one. I'm gonna record another one today, and I'm just gonna start recording them, so that way at least they're ready. And once I get everything situated and maybe make some social media pages, like a Facebook page and Instagram, or then I can put that out there and actually announce what it is. So I still got some work to do, but it's kind of fun recording these. When I did the first one, it was nice. It was something different, and that's kind of what I was looking to do. It does not mean I'm stopping the vlogs. I don't want anybody to get that idea. Much like the vlogs, I don't know when I'd be able to keep putting the podcasts out. So it could be a weekly thing. It may not be a weekly thing. Much like the vlogs, I've always tried to do the vlogs at least once a week. And sometimes I can't. I think the vlog I just did today is... Oh, excuse me. I think the vlog I just posted today is 2 weeks behind from the last vlog that I did, So it all, like I said, comes with the time of year. And it could be the same way with the podcast. If, I have one main topic that the podcast is going to be about every episode. But it's going to also be a matter of how much that episode, I can't describe it. Like, how much I have to talk about with that particular topic on that episode, I guess, So it's going to be, kind of like a hit or miss, I guess. And hopefully it works out the way that I'm thinking in my mind, Hopefully it'll go according to plan. But I'm excited about it. I can't wait to record today's episode. But yeah, so I figured I'd throw that out there. Since we're coming down to the fall and winter seasons, and there's usually not a whole lot of vlogging going on, this is something else that can probably help me keep putting some sort of content out there for people to listen to or watch or whatever. So I'm gonna go get some food. I'm really hungry now. I haven't eaten since this morning. If you have enjoyed this vlog, and again, if you're looking forward to future Saab content like an alternator replacement video, thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. I want to thank you so much for sticking around, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.